Okay, well, thanks so much for coming to this panel session. It definitely means a lot to everybody up here today. My name is Jaclyn Seifert, and I was a Cougar graduate in 2022. I am so grateful to be able to be in Pullman and to be speaking here today. I wanted to just start by saying, I totally recognize how intimidating joining the career space in corporate America is when you're in college, and the pressure to find a job. So hopefully today you can walk away learning one or two things, whether that's from an interview practice, a little bit about the e-commerce industry, or just one or two takeaways. And just be kind to yourself in this process and know that whatever's meant for you is gonna be for you. But we can go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna stand here if that's okay with everybody. But today we are going to be talking about the digital e-commerce space. Just for a quick recap, my name is Jaclyn Seifert. I work at Amazon Advertising as an account executive. I was in a sorority here, Kappa Kappa Gamma, in 2022. I really loved the Murrow College. I feel like it set me up for a lot of just success and taught me everything that I needed to join the corporate world. But I'm super looking forward to just sharing some advice today and talking to you guys about the e-commerce space.
I don't know, is this one gonna be on? We're on, okay.
There we go.
Hi everyone, I'm Elle Sehorn. I graduated from the Murrow College in May of 2020 amid the awesome pandemic. So in an ever-changing world of e-commerce, I jumped right in. So I'm hoping this can be really educational for you guys and just diving into the e-commerce space. I graduated with a public relations degree and a minor in sport management. So I'm happy to kind of share some of my experiences and how it translates into where I got today. So.
And I should probably say my degrees, I double majored in public relations and science and technology communication. I'm not sure if that still exists, does it? Science and technology communication and a minor in digital technology and culture. So I was kind of all around the board, had no idea what I wanted to do, but really loved my WSU education. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is where I work, and this is the Amazon HQ. It's a really beautiful place. I'm really grateful to work in an environment that is a beautiful space in downtown Seattle. But this is wanted to show you my day-to-day. I drive into the office, and then I work right in that building behind there. And then Global Overview is actually right next door to the Amazon building.
So differences between Jaclyn and I. Jaclyn is an account executive at Amazon. I am a display media strategist at Global Overview, which is a preferred advertising partner of Amazon. So I am representing brands that want to sell and advertise their products exclusively on Amazon.com.
And we'll go into the differences of our roles too later on. So from an agenda standpoint, first, we're just gonna do a job overview. Then we'll go into what is Amazon Ads and what is Global Overview. Then we'll go into some career development tips, and then we'll do a Q&A here. So we're gonna fly through some of these first things, but then really make sure we have time for you guys to ask questions. We've prepared some questions that we think would be relevant, but then wanna make sure we give time for you guys to ask anything else as well. So first things first. So what is an account executive and display specialist? So my day-to-day looks like, I'm gonna come down here. Hopefully everybody's okay with that. But my day-to-day is I get on client calls. I really ask them what are their business goals for the year? So how much are you looking to grow on Amazon? I have to spend a lot of my time preparing for calls. So whether that's pulling our data or preparing PowerPoint presentations. I also have internal meetings with just internal stakeholders, whether that's trainings, et cetera. And then I also do outreach. So while I'm not an SDR or that first point of contact from a sales representative, as an account executive, I'm given a book of business to work backwards from. So I'm given a book, I have a book of 115 clients within the CPG space, which is consumer packaged goods. So that spans across beauty, grocery, health and personal care, a couple kitchen, and then I have a vacuum company. But really fun stuff. Skill set of an account executive. Time management, organization, adaptable, customer obsession is a big thing at Amazon. Active listening, objective handling, collaboration, strong communication and presentation skills, testing and learning, navigating changes, like really have to be okay with like if something's not going well, just being flexible and navigating those changes. And then from the global overview side, I'll let her speak to just like in particular things that differentiate from an account executive to a display specialist.
Yeah, so when you're looking at the agency side, you're going to be wearing a lot of hats. So I actually started on our retail team, and I learned really how to set up products on Amazon, how to get the shipment there, like all the things of how you go from the brand's warehouse to the Amazon truck to the warehouse and then to the customer. So there's a lot of hard skills. There's copywriting, there's having an eye for creative and being able to align those creatives with the brands that you work with. You're working with a large portfolio. So Jaclyn works for CPG. I also work in personal care, beauty, apparel. I've been in some spaces with like athletic gear, equipment, all of that. So it's very different across the board. You really have to do your research. You have to cultivate those relationships with the brands and really understand them and help them with their research. So they come to us for the e-commerce specialty. So a part of that is also analytics. That's a really big one. It's not always talked about as much in the communications school. So that's something, more of that business side. You have to have that eye for analytics and numbers and sales. So that's something to consider as well when you're going into the e-commerce space. It's not just creative. It's not just writing. It's also relationships, sales, and business management.
Yeah, that's a great point. My whole job is like providing data to everybody at Global Overview. Yeah. But I would say that just like in its simplest form to differentiate like the two roles, I have access to Amazon first-party data that I give to our agencies. So whether they're managing that brand, say like, let's just pick a brand. Who can pick a brand? Any brand. You can say it as an example. L'Oreal. Okay, L'Oreal. So L'Oreal sells X product on Amazon. They have access, I, as the account executive, have access to all the internal dashboards, internal data. I simplify that data for a digital like display specialist who then we can either co-pitch together, we can co-pitch present that, or they can take that to their also internal teams at Global Overview and simplify it further on like what would be the most relevant for the brand. So I'd say data, more one-to-one working with the client all the time, but I also work with the client one-to-one all the time too. So it's different, but that's the simplest form. Yeah. Cool. And then a little bit about Amazon ads and kind of where we sit in the marketplace. So hopefully you guys all know what Amazon is. If you don't, but how you think about it, most people don't know we have an advertising business, which is actually one of our largest revenue drivers, as well as AWS. So if you think about like the customer journey, we know through Alexa, you have devices, and then sometimes from like, if we go through this customer journey, 10 a.m. you're shopping, 5 p.m. you're listening to music and podcasts, and then entertainment. Maybe you're on like Prime Video or places like that. So where we sit in our scale, we own Twitch, we have Thursday Night Football, Fire TV, Freevee, Amazon Music, Amazon Publisher Direct, IMDb, Alexa, Whole Foods, and Prime. Most people just think like you might advertise on the site, but a lot of the time, especially at Global Overview, like in a display specialist, brands value these channels and the scale because it's how can they reach these customers at any point in their shopping journey. And this is what really makes Amazon valuable in the marketplace right now is because of this vast scale and where we sit.
And just to add, in those spaces, so we're able to see you in all these spaces. So if you're going to shop at Whole Foods and you're shopping for, I don't know, like a seaweed snack of some sort, we know you're shopping there. I mean, it's like you look at something online, all of a sudden you get an ad for it. Sometimes you just think about it and an ad pops up. Amazon's algorithm knows all of that data. And so we're able to compile all of that based on all of these platforms. And that's how we're able to relevantly really hone in on the audiences that we're targeting our ads to. So I just thought that's worth mentioning. They're all cohesively working together in the funnel.
Yeah, and I'd challenge everybody to think about these presentations or these slides if you were a brand owner. So say you wanted to start your own coffee company. Why would this be valuable to you? It's valuable to you because you can access customers at any time in their shopping journey, remarket, retarget to them to ultimately drive or grow your sales over time, year over year, et cetera. So because of that scale, we have access to these audiences, lifestyle, in-market, contextual, demographic, advertiser audiences. So overall, I'm not going to get into it too much, but like these are the audiences of what is valuable to a brand because they want to reach a shopper in different stages of that shopping journey. And then some of these ad products that we have is Amazon DSP, which is think of that like an on as well as off of Amazon advertisement. It's huge. There's a lot of complexities to the DSP, hence why she's like a specialist in DSP, only focusing on it. It's one of our largest products. I also sell the sponsored ad suite, which is like sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display, and then if you've ever seen like a OOH ad, that's like on a box. Audio ads, custom ads, and then video. So video is huge. We just launched sponsored TV. So it's the ability for a brand to essentially launch a commercial through the ad console, as well as we now have brands who can tap into like Prime Video, have their ad or have a commercial there. So lots of scale, lots of opportunity. Not everything makes sense not every brand should do all of this, but maybe like just sponsored products, sponsored brands, which is our most like famous, well-known ads, or if someone just wants to like launch a new product and they want to like get their ad in front of as many people as possible to grow brand awareness, Amazon DSP, streaming TV. Like that as the account executive is kind of like my day-to-day of like a brand comes to me with their problem. I'm simplifying a solution for them from like an advertising standpoint and providing data to back that up on that reasoning and that strategy.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you're probably, wondering the difference. Like, what is Amazon DSP? Amazon DSP, it stands for Demand Side Platform. So that's where we're able to serve our ads on Amazon's platforms that we just showed you in the last flywheel, and then also in third party, so off of Amazon. And you're able to have that ad click into that product page on Amazon.com. I would say that that's paired most commonly with the search products and sponsored brands. They're going to be more of that brand protection, sort of like SEO. Like when you search L'Oreal face wash, like you're going to see the L'Oreal brand store pop up. You're going to see the first 4 products with the sponsored tags be the L'Oreal face wash and whatever variation. So when you go to an agency side, usually you kind of go down one route or the other, and you work really closely with, like I work really closely with my sponsored ads specialist, and so I'm doing a lot more of that display on and off Amazon, and she's doing more of that brand protection on the Amazon platform itself for the brand.
And then everybody comes together on a call and does the reporting.
Yeah.
And then I'll pass this to you to speak to global overview and the flywheel.
Yeah,
how it works.
So yeah, talking a little bit about the agency setup, we have what's called the flywheel. So all of these 3 things kind of work together to create the brand awareness and protection that we sort of wanted to get into. So we leverage own media. So that is what I was doing originally on the retail team, curating product detail pages, launching new products, making sure our brand stores are retail ready, means that the items are in stock, they're positioned with the correct messaging, and SEO type copy. We also curate product videos, and then looking at paid media. This is going to be like my team, who's getting budgets to run sponsored advertising, the DSP advertising, videos, and promotions as well. And then earned media is going to be more on our brand side. So we can have talks about, their Amazon strategy, but we also like to talk to our clients about what are their strategies going on off of the digital landscape. So we want to make sure we're aligning anything that's digitally being advertised with their social media, any of their organic, I guess not organic campaigns, but organic traffic. How can we incorporate that into e-commerce, offline and online? This also comes with ratings and reviews. That's really important when it comes to Amazon products. I'm sure if you're between, 2 face washes, you're going to go with the one that has a 4.5-star review versus a 2.5-star review. So we really like to keep track of those as well and make sure the products that we're promoting align with the brand values.
Perfect. And then we can probably, I want to check our time. What are we at? 2:25. Okay. We can fly through.
We're good, yeah.
So this is the funnel stage. So we think of like if you're a brand, you're L'Oreal, right? You think of awareness as like the Super Bowl ad, the television ad. Consideration is going to be your shoppers who are in your category but haven't viewed L'Oreal. And then purchase is going to be shoppers who are on your product detail page, the closest to purchasing but haven't bought from you. So those are people who are right on that product detail page, about to press buy, haven't done so. And then loyalty is going to be like, how can you have a shopper who's a loyal shopper to you, how can you show them new products in your catalog that are coming down the pipeline, things like that, and just grow brand awareness in the loyalty stage.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the standard funnel for a given brand. They all are a little bit different, but this is sort of what we pitch to them at the beginning. When it comes to DSP, I'm more on the creative side with this. So when we're looking to gain brand awareness, thank you. When we're looking to create brand awareness, we're looking at those audiences, like Jaclyn said, they're not, necessarily shopping in that category. They may be shopping in adjacent categories, but we're really trying to get the brand in front of them that they maybe didn't even know existed. The way we look at success metrics of how, have we gained more brand awareness is we look at the reach. Jaclyn at Amazon is able to pull a lot of data for us to see what audiences we're reaching or not reaching and what opportunities of new people there are to serve ads to. We also look at our branded search rates, so we can see a timeline during our campaigns to see how often our branded keywords are being searched. And then based on that, we can kind of see if we're growing awareness in the right direction or not. When it comes to consideration and driving conversion, they kind of go hand in hand. We're looking here at targeting within the category. So if you're already shopping for face wash, maybe you're looking at CeraVe instead of L'Oreal. And you click on that CeraVe ad, but we're like, no, we want you to go L'Oreal. So we're going to create an ad to tell you what differentiates our product from theirs in some subliminal messaging. And when we look at that, we're looking at a percentage of people that we're bringing in that are purchasing. That's going to show us our new to brand purchase rate. And that is going to be a clear indicator of, are we reaching a new audience and are they interested in actually buying our product? So if you're seeing that new to brand increase in sales, then you're probably reaching the right demographic.
And something just pop in here. If you don't know what new to brand is, it's a KPI, a key performance indicator that is very valuable to a brand, especially in a space like when any brand is running advertising. Something that makes Amazon advertising valuable and just like in this space is the KPIs to measure for success. Because when it comes to data, we can showcase how you launched an ad, how are you going to measure that success, which is what a lot of like stakeholders care about. So they come to me, they're like, Jaclyn, this strategy looks great, but like, how are we going to measure the success of this over time? Something that Amazon does really well in the marketplace is can provide really strategic, in-depth KPIs. DSP is like this is like this times 1,000 because there's hundreds of KPIs within the DSP. This is like the simplest form. So if there's like two takeaways from this slide, it's that you have a funnel stages, you have different strategies within the funnel stages. From there, then you can provide the products. Then you also can tap into the Amazon audiences and then these measurements of success. So if you're a business owner, this is looking pretty nice. And this is why people invest into the space. Just to simplify.
And that percentage new to brand as well, we're wanting to increase that because once we get more people buying our brand, we're going to work them down the funnel. We're going to serve them ads when it comes to that loyalty piece where we're going to get a higher return because they're buying more products from our brand. If they like the first thing they bought, we're going to serve them ads for something else, like maybe instead of the face wash, it's the facial cleansing wipes or, whatever that may be, or lotion. So that's where we see a lot of that brand loyalty kick in, is once we get that product to the customer, we got them in our funnel and we're able to kind of keep them there for longevity.
And I didn't know any of this when I started. So this just came with repetition. I didn't know any of this like when I graduated college. So if it's all going over your head, that's totally okay. But if you want to get a little bit more in depth and learn a little bit more about it, Amazon has hundreds of free certifications on any product for any agency partner, for any student. If you scan this, I can follow up with you on like how to just like where these certifications live. They're also all on just the Amazon advertising website. If you want to, like, I definitely recommend get certified and then put it on your LinkedIn of like the sponsored ads 101 or the display 101 certification. Like, the sooner you can start to somewhat understand this e-commerce space and these products and become a little bit more of an expert, the better it'll help you in like the process in the long run. Because like I didn't know anything, but I did take the sponsored ad certification before my interview, and it was definitely helpful. But I still really didn't know anything, just for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, when you're here, you're learning the foundational skills of advertising, PR, all the communications. You have that toolbox, and you need to fill it with tools. So you're getting most of those tools here. You definitely, once you kind of find your niche or something you're interested in going into, I also looked into the Amazon ad certifications. This is like, you ask anyone that's been in the Amazon space, they're going to tell you to take these certifications. They're so helpful. I mean, they're pretty straightforward. A lot of the learnings that I had here in college really translated into these certifications. And same as Jaclyn, like if you scan into this and you have any questions, like feel free to reach out to me. There's so many great resources out there that you should leverage, because it's really hard to learn like e-commerce if you're not just kind of narrowed into one of the spaces. And I think Amazon does a really good job of educating how to get in, at least for Amazon.
Cool. So with that, we're going to kind of transition to kind of career development and tips of like interviewing in the tech industry. How does it look? And if you're not familiar with it. So first is, before you ever interview, it's networking. I did so many networking, like reaching out to people on LinkedIn who worked at Amazon, or trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. Even if it wasn't at Amazon, it was at other places. Some tips to set you up for success here, like personal opener, like how was your weekend? How was your summer? Like, yeah, I'm a new college grad. I'm really looking forward to finding a job. What are some steps you take when running into a problem at work? Like, do you like your job? What do you like about your job? Like, it was just asking those questions, like, do you like your day-to-day? Like, do you like going and working with your coworkers, or like what you do? Does it like bring you happiness, right? Like things like that, those kind of questions. What qualities do you see the most successful peers of yours embodying? Can you tell me more about how you navigate your day-to-day? Are there any valuable resources? So then you ask all your questions that you want to ask at the end. Are there any valuable resources you referenced when staying in your career or staying up to date? I'd also say, like, do you have anybody else you think it would be good for me to talk to? Like, after this, thank you so much for your time today. Just like, then after that interview or after that kind of like networking conversation, debrief like, did I like her job? Or like, did that sound interesting to me? And then reach out to another person. Like, that was kind of what I did, of just figure out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, what industry, and just went across the board. So definitely recommend that. And then interviewing at Amazon. So this is kind of a little bit in depth, but confirm tech setup. Also, if you like Google interviewing at Amazon, you can find any of this. Research the role. So try to understand like, what is the role? Bring thoughtful questions. And again, this can be at any job at Amazon or anywhere that you want to interview at. It doesn't have to be ads, but bring thoughtful questions, come prepared, practice in advance. This is definitely big. Like, I spent a lot of hours practicing for my interview. Answer the why of the questions or the roles, and then some best practices day of. So Amazon interviewing is designed in the STAR method. I'm sure you might be familiar with it, but a lot of the tech companies across the board use this STAR method in the interviewing process. So it's situation, task, action, result. So think of it as like, how can you structure your question in this way? And the interviewers are almost always looking for these answers. So remind yourself to answer interview questions in this format. Send appreciation, like send a thank you note. Find a distraction-free space. Bring resume and notes. And then some of example behavioral questions. Tell me about a time when you were faced with a problem that you had a number of possible solutions. What was the problem and how did you determine the course of action? What was the outcome of that choice? Like, spend time thinking about situations like, okay, like this could be a good situation, or like just spend time. This is the studying, this is the practice part of it.
I'm going to add to that really quick.
Go ahead.
Something that really helped me, because I think we all maybe suffer from imposter syndrome a little bit when we come out of college. And if you haven't yet, I guarantee you probably will, unfortunately. But asking your friends, asking maybe colleagues if you have another job somewhere else, or classmates that you've worked on projects with. I reached out to a lot of them and kept those relationships close. And I asked them, like, if I were to tell you I'm applying for a job, what would you expect me to put on a resume? Sometimes you need that external lens to tell you, like, hey, that project you did, like, that changed, that emotionally changed me this way, or this was really insightful for me because I learned this. And so you're able to take some of those things from the outside lens and apply that to your resume, and then some of these questions as well that you may have missed because you're kind of on autopilot and you're very zoned in on these questions. You don't always come out and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's where the networking comes in. They can help you and teach you and coach you and like try to support you. And how would you structure the story? Definitely, like, networking is so important. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. To have somebody kind of like hold your hand during this process. And there's so many people who like want to help people through it, because everybody's been there. They've all sat in your seat, like, don't know what we want to do. So tips: structure your answers to behavioral based questions in STAR format. Use data or metrics where possible. This is super important. Reference recent situations whenever possible. That is like your success ticket to a tech industry interview. Tips for a great STAR answer. I'll skip this, but ensure each answer has a beginning, middle, and end. Describe the situation and the problem. Describe the specific actions you took. If you look up STAR method, you'll be able to figure it out. There's so many videos, but it's a little bit about the interviewing process. So with that, we're gonna probably transition to the Q&A. And thanks so much.
Do you want to keep standing, or do you want to?
I'll sit down.
Okay.
But hopefully that was helpful. Amazon and global overview.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I don't think I introduced myself. I'm just standing up here. You're like, who is that one? I'm a professor. Sorry. And I feel like a proud mom because they were both my students. Aren't they good? I'm so proud of them. It's awesome. This is weird. I'm gonna hold it. So it's really affirming. I teach this. So does Michelle Gailey back there, and so does Erica Fisher back there. We teach this stuff. Isn't it fun to see them do it? I love it. I'm on fire. It's awesome. All right. So I have a couple of questions, but I'm kind of thinking we should just maybe see if the audience is ready to roll. Go for it. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, first one is this sentence coming from older guy.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's fine. Are you already using artificial intelligence at all?
The question is, are you already using artificial intelligence for all of this?
I can speak to that. So Amazon is definitely sitting at like the front of AI right now. I would say we have it all hands with Andy Jassy every quarter, and every time he talks about every industry that we're working in, every part of Amazon is incorporating AI into its aspect in their day-to-day. It's not something to be terrified, because it's something that's already been happening over the course of like 5 to 10 years. That's actually exactly what he said too. Like, it's nothing new. It's just we're getting really strategic in terms of like, where is it the most valuable, and like, how can we save time? And I think that's kind of like my general takeaway from like his analysis of that. And it's definitely really exciting to hear about like new things all the time in every aspect of the business.
I have another question. On some of these blogs, how general, what percentage of their revenue comes through Amazon?
Yeah.
You want to repeat the question, just to make sure everybody can hear?
What percentage of revenue comes from Amazon? So in terms of like e-commerce, it depends on the brand, it depends on the category. So within CPG, I have a lot of, like within beauty, you can have your D2C site. You can also be in retail. So Amazon is just one piece of that business. I would say that brands see a lot of success on Amazon because we have a very loyal customer in the marketplace. Like, it's really easy to buy something on the site. It gets there super quickly. So people trust Amazon in the space. And that's also, I think, something that's really valuable. And then brands see a lot of success in terms of year-over-year growth and total overall sales.
Ellie,
a number percentage. I mean, it's
such a
so
sliding
universal.
scale.
Like, I feel like it really depends on the brand. It depends on the category. You can't really put a number to it. My primary focus and my goal with all my brands is to focus on, like, I'm gonna make you a lot of I'm gonna make you a lot of money. Like, so let's do that. So that's kind of like my priority with my brands that I'm aligned to.
Ellie, did you want to speak at all to the AI question? Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, in terms of the agency setting for AI, I have not leveraged anything other than like Chat GPT to help me refine some emails sometimes, but nothing when it comes to like campaign management. It's hard for me to imagine. I know it probably will somehow be created in the future, but it's hard to imagine how to match the human like hands on the keyboard when it comes to defining campaigns. Within my campaigns, there's so many different levers to pull, and each brand is different in which levers should or shouldn't be pulled. I feel like AI might be of help in more high level, but when you get to the nitty gritty and you're looking at the metrics, you really have to kind of have that human eye piece day to day.
And I would say, in terms of agencies, there's a number of different types of Amazon advertising agencies. Some specialize in AI, some specialize on the retail side of the business. Like, it just depends on what the brand is looking for. It's very customizable. There's hundreds of agencies. And so I just work across with all of them too.
Mm-hmm. Something that has been leveraged at my agency from a retail and creative side is there are AI assisted generated imaging for your product detail pages. So that is something to look out for. If a picture might look a little funky, like it might just be in the AI beta.
That does happen.
Yes. Other questions from the audience? I can rip them out, but you go for it. Go ahead.
I'm graduating this May. What would you say your experience has been with pros and cons of working at such a large company and overreaching it?
Pros and cons of working at a large company.
We talked about this. I'll let you start from like the agency side.
So some pros can also be the cons. For me, I wear a lot of hats in the agency setting. So, I mean, you got to be quick on your feet. It can be very stressful in some of those peak seasonality times like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, around the holidays. There's a lot more initiatives going on. So you kind of have to learn the work-life balance piece early on and create those boundaries. But some of the pros, I get to travel. I get to meet really, really cool people. I get to work with brands that I've purchased and am loyal to myself. And so, being able to do some of those things I would say are the pros.
Yeah. I can start with the cons. I think when you're working at a company as large as Amazon, I am so grateful to have just kind of jumped right into it. It's definitely something to consider. Like, what do you want like your first 2 to 3 years to look like? Amazon's very fast-paced. You can ask anybody at the company. It's a large, fast-paced company that expects a lot out of like your day-to-day. However, to me, Amazon is my manager. So your manager is like Amazon to you when you're an employee. So my manager's had a huge impact on me in my early like career development. Boundaries, like I sent an email on a Sunday and she was like, Jaclyn, like, why are you sending an email on a Sunday?
Green flag.
Which is not always the case. So I just am really grateful to have a manager who's taught me that early on and how to have that balance. Pros, being at the front of the line in terms of innovation, always hearing about new creations, products coming out to help brands. My favorite thing about my job is that I get to help. I work with small to medium-sized businesses who just want to get visibility on their brands. Think of like a small mom and pop shop in New Hampshire who's selling soap. And they're just like, yeah, like this is a family-owned business. We've been in this space. Like we're not seeing a lot of success in like in stores, but like we want to try to tap into this. So I get to work like directly with the owners, directly with the CEOs, and help them figure out a strategy that works for them. So that's my favorite piece of it.
You may have touched on this, but maybe if you could just maybe say it again. I'd love for you to explain to them the difference between your two roles, because you're not both at Amazon, right? So you're at Amazon. Yeah. Jaclyn's at Amazon, but Ellie, you're with who?
An Amazon agency. So it's essentially like a marketing agency, but it's just for like working with Amazon brands.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's an important distinction, because it's probably a really different experience, right? Because you're at the mothership, and you're like one of the planets.
Yeah, I'm like on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Other questions from the audience? What internships did you guys do, and how do you think that prepared you for your jobs?
So I actually went more of the sports marketing route when I was here at WSU.
I tell them that we went on a study abroad. We went on a study abroad together.
We studied abroad
Ben
together.
Shores, shout out Ben Shores.
Yeah, we were more like sports journalism, sports advertising focused. When I was in college, so I worked as a marketing intern at the athletic department. I worked for the basketball team. I worked for Coug Vision. All of this was, for the most part, unpaid, so I consider it an internship.
Were either of you in clubs or Bateman or NSAC? So maybe talk a little bit.
I was in PRSSA.
I was in Zoo Crew, so I was very sports focused. But all of the skills that I learned, marketing, advertising, all of that, like experiential products and things like that, all of that really I was able to translate into this marketing job. My first job out of college, I was a sales merchandiser for a premium spirits and wine company. So I got that hands-on like business sales and analytical experience with that beforehand as well.
And then I was on the social media team for WSU football, which was so cool during like the peak. It was so fun. I did that. I also was in PRSSA. I was really involved in my sorority. And I'd say those kind of experiences gave me like leadership, first like experience at real leadership opportunities. And then from there, I got an internship at a company called High Spot in Seattle. Kind of my first dip into like the tech industry. And then went right out of college to Amazon Ads as an account executive.
How many of you were at the breakfast with Lisa? So if you remember what she said, say yes. Say yes, say yes, say yes. That's what you have to do. You have to say yes to everything. Just soak it up, eat it up, whatever it is in here and out there, for sure.
Oh, I also wrote for the Daily Evergreen.
I was gonna say,
how could I leave that out?
More things are coming to mind too.
Yes, I totally followed. I don't know if you guys remember the girls' soccer team, and they went super far, like 5-4. I covered that entire season. So I think that the Daily Evergreen flew me out there. It was the coolest thing ever. I was like, this is so cool. Yep. And then like the Apple Cup and all those fun big games. So I am so grateful for our WSU and the Murrow College.
Lots of opportunities with the athletic department. Zoo Crew, if you guys, I don't know if you're seniors, but if you're juniors, Zoo Crew was amazing for me to learn about the difference between Zoo Crew branding and like WSU athletics branding. It's very different. Like one's the student section, it's for a younger demographic sort of, and then the athletic department, it's a little bit more professional, a little bit more of that like collegiate, space. And then I also worked at Cable, or did some work for Cable 8. That was just more of like a passion project. So just trying out different things, you'll really learn what you like and what you don't like, and that will take you a lot further. And, it's more efficient use of your time, really.
I also took my classes pretty seriously. Like, there's some really great knowledge from our professors. So
yes, definitely.
I really, for instance, like I enjoyed the communication and technology classes. So like that's obviously made sense of like where I am today. So I was like really interested in what is the future of technology going to look like, the past and now, and then into the present, where like my textbooks are probably already outdated. So
other questions? Go, Jeff.
So you both mentioned you wear lots of hats. There's lots of change, innovation. There's new technology. Everything's constantly growing, expanding, moving fast. How are you putting those boundaries in to say, okay, I'm not going to send an email on Sunday? And is there a reward for actually setting those boundaries versus being the yes person all the time, 24/7, stress management, burnout, you drop it out of the human race kind of thing.
That's a great question, especially for young professionals. Very good.
I can take this. My manager sat me down in my first one-on-one. I was obviously really ambitious. I was like, I'm really excited to be here. I am like ready to hit it full force. She sat me down and she's like, you will not be at a company this long if you cannot have healthy work-life balance. She emphasizes to me all the time, this type of, it's so important. And like anybody in the corporate world across any industry knows that work is your, like so much of your time in your life. But it also isn't. Like I'm super close with my family. I find hobbies, like I love running. So like I run a lot and I know like at 5 p.m. I'm gonna log off, shut my computer. I don't have my email on my phone. So like I go to bed and I'm like, oh, hopefully I make my 8:30. Like, I just know I normally have my meetings around like 8:30 to 9. And yeah, like it's a hard question because I think it's a lot easier said than done. But it's so important. And I am, like I said, I'm really grateful for a manager who taught me and guided me and coached me in that process.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, I'm a total like mental health advocate. So it was really hard for me though. I was ambitious, like right out of college. Like you want to say yes to everything. You want to make yourself available. You want to learn as much as you can. I quickly learned by doing that I burnt myself out very quickly at the beginning. And so I really did have to like reprocess like, you know, my learning, thinking, like organizational skills of being like, okay, I need to slow down. How can I most efficiently spend the 8 or 9 hours of my workday? And, you know, I block time in my calendar. I set up meetings ahead of time on a cadence to where it's like people expect me every Tuesday at noon and they're not throwing something on my calendar on a Friday at 3 p.m. because we have these things set up in advance to be able to have, you know, sort of a structure to work with. So being able to like create those routines was really helpful for me. And then just finding ways to be more efficient with your time and then your time outside of work. Like if you really just want to sit on the couch and watch TV after work, let yourself do that. Like give yourself grace to have those days. I'm a big advocate for therapy, getting outside, physical activity. Volunteering is something that really like fuels me and gives me like, you know, more social energy, even though it's like work might drain my social battery, but you know, going out and coaching volleyball, I do that locally. Like, you know, it gets your mind somewhere else and takes you out of the workspace. I work from home, so I'm sitting, you know, in my living room all day, like on my computer. So being able to remove yourself from the situation physically and mentally, I think early on by creating efficiencies is the best route.
Yeah. I think we're figuring it out though.
Yeah, balance it's a bear for sure. Other questions from the audience? Go for it. Yeah.
Where are some of the biggest recurring client problems and how do you manage them? Like whether you have problem from client or problem from client.
I know exactly.
Do you want to repeat his question?
How can we make more money?
Yeah.
The recurring problems.
Some things that pop up, at least from an agency setting, is you're working with a lot of brands. So like Jaclyn said, she's working with maybe some mom and pop brands. Like you might also be working with some brands with some, you know, they're like really out there, like, you know, people, household names. So you're going to have a vast scale of experience in the client's teams that they're coming to you with. So they may not even have a lot of marketing and advertising experience. This might also be their first job. It might be someone who's been in the business for 30, 40 years, and the trends and ways of doing business are so different from when they were in school and learned. So being able to adapt to being able to educate your client in a professional way without, like, you know, not being demeaning or playing down what their knowledge is, but being able to educate them on how you want to help them. A lot of times it's a lot of miscommunication and it's like, oh, why aren't sales up? And it's like, okay, well, we're running a brand awareness campaign, so we need people to be aware of the brand, but we're going to supplement that with the conversion campaigns, and that's where we're going to make our money, but we can't implement that until people even know what our brand is. So it's just being able to educate about, you know, what the strategy is going to look like and be able to give them a little bit more of a clear vision, because a lot of times they'll just come in hot with questions because it's coming from the top down.
I would say I spend my first call with any client. It's like 80% them talking, me 20%, and I'm just trying to like figure out what is their biggest pain point and how can I resolve at least one or two of them immediately, and then like how can I start to show them the data and the processes and just simplifying how to think about the advertising business in the final stages, basically. What makes sense for them?
We have 5 minutes. Other questions? Go for it. What other certifications do you recommend?
Okay, LinkedIn has so many good certifications. Like there's hundreds on there.
And the LinkedIn Learning, by the way, has a free 30-day trial.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. And then every sponsored ads.
One thing that was big for me, learning Excel, I did not really learn that too much in any of my classes here. So advice to younger me was to take some of those analytical classes, maybe through the business school. They were really scary. I was not a numbers person. That's why I did PR instead of marketing. But it's huge. I mean, that's how you make decisions. That's how you justify if your campaigns are running well. That's how you tell if you're taking those budgets that they're giving you and you're giving them the return that they want. So being able to look at like the numbers and just be more comfortable in Excel, things like that, that'll save you a lot of stress early on.
I also think like if there's like one certification to take away, it's the sponsored ad certification. If you like are interested in this type of industry at all, that will definitely be like one to really just help you across the board.
Yeah.
And Michelle, you and I can help answer this too. The HubSpot Academy for all students, all those certifications are free. So HubSpot Academy, look it up. I see a question.
Coming from a sports management nature, how did you link your sports management and your Murrow education together?
Linking sports management and, say that again.
So Murrow Communications.
Murrow Communications and sports management link. And go ahead.
For me, it was really seamless. So it's kind of hard to explain, but I just feel like a lot of the skills that you learn on, I mean, even like the relationship piece and like professionality piece is really important going into the tech space. It can be really intimidating. The sports world also can be really intimidating. So you kind of get that stress like out of the way early on. And I definitely think just like campaigns and different like initiatives that we did in the athletic department translated really well to some of the overarching, like it's definitely a formula and brands follow the formula with just a few different variables changed. So experiential marketing with sports, there's a lot of similarities with, you know, just like a product online and how you want to position a brand.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I would just say like more so the like daily evergreen, like interviewing, the grittiness of like getting on the ground, asking questions, not being afraid to like put yourself out there, those type of things, especially like when you're interviewing in like sports media and things like that. Those courses, if you've ever had to take them as well, those really teach you and give you like the confidence to be able to like put yourself out there. Nobody's looking at you. Just go out there and be you, you know?
Yeah.
One theme that I'm seeing emerging with you two is that they sort of embraced the time here and the time and space that you are here. This is your safe space. This is where you can explore and grow and try new things and fail
You'll
and
never
get back up
regret
again.
trying.
And you're not. It's not as easy to do once you're out. You're real cute right now. Wait until you get out graduated. You're not as cute once you graduate. So right now you get to do all these amazing things and not to burn out. I would never advocate burnout, but I would advocate trying new things, putting yourself out there. Join KUGR, Cable 8, or a Daily Evergreen. Not all three. Pick one that you're into.
PRSSA, sorry, I have to also throw
Or PRSSA. Yeah. And by the way, PRSSA is having a meeting tomorrow at 2. A reception right after. Michelle Gailey is on the PRSA board in Spokane. Hi, Michelle Gailey. Welcome. You can talk to Michelle. All right. We are, okay, so I think we have to wrap up. Can we give them a hand, everyone? Woo! So we have to wrap up. Maybe a couple of minutes if you want to chatter with them before you head off to your next panel. Great to see everybody.
We'll
Thanks.
throw our LinkedIn's up
Yeah.
here really quick if it's still up.
Do you have the
Oh, here.
Yeah. And then also the certification. It's like a Google form. So if you fill out the Google form, I'll have that and I can reach back out to you guys.
QR code for the Google form certifications, our names for LinkedIn. Feel free to send a note so we know you attended, all that good stuff.
And don't be too hard on yourself. You guys are all going to
Enjoy the rest of your time here. Try new things. I did not regret ever trying too many things in school. So just add to your toolbox as much as you can while you're still here.
Learn and be curious.
Yeah.